Welcome back, once again, adventurers, to Let's Play Robotics Notes Elite. And in the last episode, before Kaito and the others could leave Chofu behind for Tanegashima in their attempt to confront Misaki Tsunomiya once and for all, as well as the operatives at her disposal, things took a very dark turn indeed, because a certain individual made their appearance, or should I say reappearance, and that was none other than Airi Yukifune, who up until this point was hospitalized. But, well, she is in good health. Although given the situation, that isn't going to last very long, because Airi isn't in control of her actions. No. Her actions are being directed by the very individual who claimed to be her caretaker of sorts. The very man who we had, up until this point, had trusted the reports that were written by him. Reports that we had assumed were warnings against the activities of the Committee of 300 and the development and execution of Project Atum and Project Mars. Little did Kaito and I realize, however, that the entire thing was an ingenious, double-edged, two-faced trap. Yeah. Kou Kimijima is no savior, and he is not yet fully gone from this world. Physically he is dead, which ironically wasn't part of his plans, having been killed by none other than Misaki herself when she tried to save Kaito and Akiho on the Anemone. But to little avail, because the digital construct that Kou Kimijima now is manipulated her into carrying out those very activities of preparing a black hole bomb to finalize Project Atum and Project Mars once and for all. And as insurance of sorts, Kou is literally holding us and Airi hostage. We can't afford to make a single misstep. One false move, and it will be the end of Airi Yukifune. We are not in a good position here.
Misakiと殺し合うために島へ行くかい?
He already knows what we intend, having orchestrated it himself. And one might be tempted to think that all this could have been avoided if Kaito had just not checked out the community center in Uchugaoka Park. Unfortunately, that isn't the case either. Kou's plan has been in motion for over 10 years now. But of course, there was no doubt as to Kaito's involvement, given his connection to Misaki and the MF Anemone. Yeah, it had to be Kaito and no one else. I seem to recall Kaito saying that Kou's flags regarding the reports were the work of a sadist delighting in his work. Little did we realize how right he was.
ちなみに美咲は昼間君たちのロボットを破壊したスメラギ2番機で武装しているよ。
I wasn't under the assumption that there was only one Sumeragi robot. Kou. Yeah, There had to be more than one. And it's with Misaki.
次は君たちを本気で殺しに行くよう指示しておくとしようかな。
That's a problem. Kou's gotten inside of Misaki's head just like he has Airi's. Even though Misaki, the only reason that she is actually fulfilling the committee's requests and Kou's plans is some kind of twisted, self-righteous atonement of sorts for her actions. Unfortunately, Misaki, fulfilling Kou Kimijima's wishes and achieving Project Atum and Project Mars on his behalf is not my idea of salvation.
俺は
When I try to respond, the person who holds me back and steps towards Kou Kimijima is...
Aki-chan.
Who else could it be? Her expression is brave and imposing. The fear she had shown earlier had completely disappeared. She looked straight at Airi Yukifune and Kou Kimijima standing behind her, at the man invisible to the naked eye.
Kimijima-san.
All doubt has gone from her voice. Her true enemy has been revealed at last.
うちのお姉ちゃんは今でもロボットのこと好きですか?
Aki-chan, 何を
Just let her talk, Kaito.
面白い質問をするね。
Still smiling, Kou Kimijima responds. Unfortunately, we're running out of time here. Yeah, that rocket is going to be prepared at some point. But as long as Kou is amused by this turn of events, he won't kill Airi right away.
好きなんじゃないかな。
That said, we don't have a way out of this predicament.
美咲はたまにキルバラというゲームをプレイしているよ。
So Kaito was right. Yeah, she never stopped playing. She's Tajirina Ringer, aka Tajirin. Looks like you get bragging rights for calling that one after all, Kaito Yashio. That really was Mizune.
お姉ちゃんは今もお姉ちゃんのままなんだ。
Unlike Airi, she still has some control over her thoughts. If not necessarily her actions, but even so, Kou is the one holding all the cards right now. From where I'm standing, I can see Akiho clench her fists. Can't afford to be rash here, Akiho.
うちにとってロボットは絆だった。うちにとってロボットは夢だった。ロボットは希望だった。ロボットは仲間との努力の結晶だった。うちらの命令にあの子たちは素直に従ってくれる。 うちらがきちんと指示してあげないと一人で歩くことさえできないの。あんなに大きいのに世話ばっかり焼かせるどうしようもない子たちで。でもしっかり向き合えば向き合うほどあっちもそれに応えてくれる。ただの機械の塊なのに魂でも宿ってるんじゃないかって思えてくるの。日本人はね、ロボットをすぐ擬人化するでしょ。どんなものにでも魂が宿るっていう価値観の日本人らしい考え方だってうちは思うんだ。ガンツク1もガンツク2もうちにとって自分の子供みたいなものだった。それなのにお姉ちゃんはそれを壊したの。ロボットのことが大好きだったお姉ちゃんが壊したの。どんな気分だったんだろう。悲しかったかな、辛かったかな、それとも何も感じることができないでいるのかな。うちは許さない。お姉ちゃんにそんなことをさせるよう仕向けた君島子、あなたを許さない。
許さないのは結構だけど。
This really is turning into a television drama of sorts.
それでどうするんだい？君たちに美咲を止める術はあるのかな？
He's right. Even if we manage to get out of the situation and somehow save Airi's life in the process, it's not just Misaki we have to deal with, but a bunch of other fully trained operatives, a lot of whom have HUG exoskeleton suits. We have no way of fighting against them. People, yes, but technology, we're gonna need a miracle for that one, Akiho.
さっきも言ったけど、美咲はスメラギで武装しているよ。
Yeah, and we saw firsthand what Sumeragi was capable of against the likes of Gunbuild 2 and the other Expo robots. Human beings wouldn't stand a chance.
それに、彼女には10人ほどの仲間もいる。彼らは銃器を扱うプロだ。
Unbeknownst to the party here, I wonder if that includes the 4 individuals who are presently elsewhere taking a nice nap, having already been dealt with by a certain individual who has managed to remain on Tanegashima unnoticed. That being said, the odds still aren't in our favor. But it seems that Akiho Sanomiya is the one who is laughing now. Akiho starts to laugh fearlessly. Without looking at me, she grabs my hand with hers. I grip it firmly in response. Well, we're dedicated to standing against Kou Kimijima come what may, but we still need a way out of this.
悪のロボットを倒すのは正義のロボットだって昔からずっと決まってる。
Seriously? Yeah, I'm kind of with you there, Kaito. Oh no. Wait.
うちらにはお姉ちゃんが設計したとっておきの巨大ロボがあるんだから。
gonna drag out prototype Model 1, that piece of junk? Kaito's laughing for a very different reason than Akiho, I think. I didn't think she'd play that card. Aki-chan, you're something else. Whether that's a good thing or not remains to be seen. You're the goddamn best.
知らないかもしれないから君島さんに教えてあげる。巨大二足歩行ロボットはこれまでに何十回も何百回も世界滅亡の危機を救ってきてるんだ。
That they have, but all that took place within the world of animation, or in anime and games anyhow. Though I suppose she's not technically wrong, quote unquote.
だから今回もロボットが世界を救う。うちらの作ったロボが、うちらの夢が詰まったロボが、あなたたちの悪いロボットを倒して。
You do know they have more than one, right, Akiho?
あなたを倒して。
That is the determination of Akiho Sinomiya,
お姉ちゃんを倒して
laid bare.
世界を救ってやるんだ。
This coming from Ms. Red Comet herself.
300人委員会も旅ストック研究所もプロジェクトアトムも君島号も全部クソったれだ。お姉ちゃんなんてクソくらいだ。完璧超人のお姉ちゃんになんて負けるもんか。正義は絶対に勝つんだ。勝ってうちらがお姉ちゃんを助けるんだ。
That's what I call a shout from the soul. As rousing a speech as it was, Akiho, though, we still have an immediate problem we have to fix before we can actually do any of that. Yeah. Back at Subaru's house. On the island.
だから今回もロボットが世界を救う。
Ah! This is being broadcast. Well played, Akiho and Kaito.
うちらの作ったロボが、うちらの夢が詰まったロボが、あなたたちの悪いロボットを倒して、あなたを倒して、お姉ちゃんを倒して、世界を救ってやるんだ。
Very well played. A very interesting turn of events. But still, Airi's life is very much in danger. It's a live broadcast. The videotapes just suddenly started playing on Naga Fukada's Twitter account. Former club president Sinomiya Senpai is in total darkness, passionately yelling to an absurd degree. Yashio Senpai is holding her hand. Who are they talking to? What are they talking about? Yeah. There's a lot you need to be filled in with, on this matter, Subaru Hidaka. of course, in your current condition, yeah, things could be looking better. I don't know any of the details, but what I do know,
夢が詰まったロボット。
you're finally beginning to understand what truly drives Akiho Sonomiya as the Robotics Club's president.
正義のロボットが世界を救う。
Such a simplistic view of good and evil sounds exactly like the mecha anime that Sonomiya Senpai enjoys. As far as I'm concerned, that genre is far too childish, so the stories leave much to be desired in terms of mass appeal, even though those stories were very, very popular in their time. So considering everything I just detailed, why? Why is there a strange feeling welling up in my chest? Because of your own passion for robots, Subaru. Why are there tears in my eyes? My gaze is naturally drawn to the cardboard box in the corner of my room. My leg is in a cast, so I have to crawl over to the box. I open the lid and take a look inside. It's there that I find the wreckage of my old partner. He's been broken for half a year now. M45. It was 10 years ago. When I saw Misaki Sonomiya, a high schooler at the time at Robo 1, I became fascinated with robots. So it was Misaki that inadvertently set you on that path. Why am I not surprised? That fascination is what brought me to M45. I pick up one of the parts. I gently wrap the palm of my hand around it, its cold sensation spreading throughout my fist. The memories come flooding back. When I was in elementary school, at a small toy shop, I had a small RC toy bought for me. After watching Robo 1, I desperately wanted a robot of my own. Of course, there were no bipedal RC robot toys back then, so I got an animal type with 4 legs. Of course, it was my dad who bought it for me. Except in Hiromu's case, it was a father buying something for his son. I still remember what he said to me that day.
ちゃんと自分で責任を持って組み立てるんだぞ。それと絶対に途中で投げ出すな。まあ頭のいいスバルならこんなのすぐ組み立てられるだろう。
So then what changed? What happened to change all this?
僕は
I wonder. I look at my left leg. It's held in place by a hard cast. During surgery, I had multiple bolts inserted into it. Ouch. If I don't take painkillers, the intense pain keeps me from sleeping.
僕はそれでも
When I take another look deep inside my heart, the answer comes immediately. No, I already had the answer. This entire month, ever since I broke my leg, I've been thinking the entire time. And after hearing Sonomiya-senpai spill her soul, well, I can't allow myself to sit here any longer. I put on a change of clothes and exit my room with crutches in hand. Dad is in the living room. You were a different person back then, Hiromu. But what happened between these two that ultimately made Subaru Hidaka decide to take on the mantle of Mr. Pleiades just to hide his identity and his obsession with developing robots? He's staring out at the darkness through the window. He said he saw a swarm of robots during the day at sea, so he must still be worried about it. Yeah, there were a lot, and they weren't just robots either.
どこへ行く?
Just hearing his voice makes my body tremble. Dad has always been a massive wall that I could never overcome. Seems there have been plenty of massive walls throughout this whole ordeal. I have all the respect in the world for him, and I'm serious about inheriting his work. However,
部活へ
I barely managed to squeeze out the words without stuttering.
部活へ行ってくる
I look Dad straight in the eyes, and I make my intentions clear. I'm still a member of the Robotics Club, despite its formal dissolution.
気づいたんだよ僕はロボットを作るのが好きだ今までずっとその気持ちと向き合うのを避けてきたいつもそれはいけないことだって自重してきたでもやっぱり僕は子供の頃からずっと好きなんだこの気持ちを大切にしたいんだ
それでまた大怪我をしたらどうする?
Well, considering the fate that awaits you all, should all this go south, Subaru's injuries at this point are actually, yeah, not quite as bad as things could get.
しかもこんな時にこんな時間にこんな天気で出ていくだと? お前は親の気持ちを何だと思ってるんだ?
I think you're over backwards, Hiromu. Subaru knows only far too well
父さんが心配してくれてるのは嬉しいよ
that he will not back down. Not this time.
それを裏切ってきた自分も恥ずかしく思うでも今じゃないとダメなんだ今僕が仲間にできることがある
He has an obligation after all.
もう悔いを残したくない自分で責任を持って最後まで組み立てたいから絶対に途中で投げ出したくないからこれが僕の夢だからだからごめん父さん僕行かないと
勝手にしろ
he spits out his reply and withdraws into his room. I was fully prepared to be struck once or twice, so his response leaves me a bit shocked. I lightly bow my head, put on a raincoat, and leave the house. There's work to be done. I didn't encounter a single person or car on the way to the old airport. The island is essentially under martial law right now, which is, putting it mildly, also disingenuous. Rumors that armed terrorists have already taken over the Tanegashima Space Center have already spread across the entire island. I heard that everyone from Minamitane has been evacuated to my high school. But there isn't a soul at the old airport, located next door. Just a locked hangar. And Prototype Model 1, sleeping inside of it. That being said, Gunbuild 1 isn't quite the miracle we need to go up against the likes of Sumeragi. Yeah, or at least that's what I thought. It's Juna. The hangar door is open. From inside I hear a familiar voice. She's here. The final time, Juna Daitoko. It wasn't your fault.
でも秋穂ちゃんのあの言葉聞いちゃったらなんだかいても立ってもいられなくて。
Akiho's bold declaration having a profound effect on even Juna.
僕もあれを聞いてここに来た口です。
1号機くん、組み立て直すんだよね。秋穂ちゃんがそう言ってた。
Yeah. The only way that Gunbuild 1 can go toe-to-toe with Sumeragi is if it gets a complete overhaul and becomes the gun barrel robot that Misaki and Akiho had originally intended it to be. But that being said, we have a very short time span to do this rebuilding in secret without drawing attention. Of course, it would stand to reason that Kaito would have sent that video of Akiho to the members of the Robotics Club and only the members of the Robotics Club. Subaru, Juna, and of course, Frau.
ごめんなさい。私、今日まで一度も日高くんにちゃんと謝れてなかった。
On the contrary, you've been apologizing so much.
本当にごめんなさい。私のせいでロボ部は終わっちゃったけど、でもそんなの嫌だった。どうしても嫌だったの。 私がね、日高君に怪我をさせた私がこんなこと言う資格ないかもしれないけど、でも私は入れなくてもいいから。
That's not an option, Junna.
アキホちゃんとヤシオ君と日高君と幸次郎さんでロボ部を続けてもらいたくて、それを言うためにここに。
She's on the verge of a complete and total breakdown. Daitoko Senpai starts shaking her head left and right. She's been trying to hold back tears this entire time, but she's given up completely. Large teardrops are already flowing from her eyes.
違うよ、そうじゃないの。私もロボ部続けたい。みんなとまた一緒にロボット作りたいの。
Daitoko Senpai wails loudly. Her face is a total mess. Even then, she doesn't try to wipe away the tears. She simply falls to her knees.
先輩、
こんなことで許してもらえるとは思ってないけど。
It's far from the worst thing that has happened so far, Junna Daitoko.
どうせ役立たずだし戦力にもならないけど。
That's not true. That mocap of your kata actually helped a lot at the Tokyo Expo and drew some people in. I mean, sure, it was only 500 people out of a crowd of thousands, tens, and hundreds of thousands, but still, you made a contribution.
それでも
Daitoko Senpai gets on her hands and knees and puts her head down.
もう一度頑張りたい。みんなのおかげでできた新しいこの夢を終わらせたくない。お願い、日高くん。勝手な言い分だって分かってるけど許して。私にも手伝わせてお願いします。
What is Subaru to say to something like that? The sound of the rain outside echoes loudly through the hangar. I don't think I've ever been here at night. For obvious reasons. I let out a sigh.
手は差し伸べませんよ。何しろ片足が折れてますんでね。
I was going to say harsh, but you have a point.
自分で顔を上げてさっさと立ってください。大徳先輩には謝ってる暇はないんです。
And yet another point. We don't have time for apologies.
僕はこの足ですからまともに動けません。代わりに先輩に僕の分まで働いてもらいます。それでチャラにします。
日高 とう。ありがとう。先輩女子を土下座させ、奴隷となることを強要する、性的な意味で。
And a fine how do you do to you as well, Kona.
それなんてエロゲ。
I'm suddenly assailed by bright light.
何？
No, it's not the bat signal. Boo! Boo. It's not the bat signal. Oh well. Can't have everything. It's the light of a flashlight. Two figures appear. And only two, it seems.
これからメガネのことを鬼畜メガネと呼ぶ。異論は認めない。
Overruled.
誰が鬼畜メガネだ。
Now's not the time to get flustered, Subaru.
大徳先輩、ほら、早く立ってください。変な誤解をされちゃうでしょうが。
Yeah, and you're tripping over your own tongue in the process.
ごめん。
Daitoku Senpai stands straight up, then staggers a little. You don't have to apologize on Frau's behalf. She falls over toward me. Well, that's awkward. Especially with that leg. This is bad. If she falls on me, I won't be able to support the weight, and that's not even considering my leg. But I have no escape route. Just when I come to expect the worst. Denoji-san swiftly dashes between us and catches Daitoku-senpai. Good save there, Nai. Denied, Frau. Denied. No amusements for you.
大丈夫ですか？
Could be worse. I don't say that lightly.
すみません。
Is it just me, or was she insanely fast just now? Yet here she is, smiling as usual.
スバル君とジュンナちゃん、それにコナちゃん。元ロボ部メンバー勢揃いですね。
Not quite. Not everyone is here and accounted for.
元じゃありません。現ロボ部ですよ。
うんうん、いいです。すごくいいです。
Indeed.
青春って感じですね。素敵です。皆さん、アキホちゃんの熱い演説を聞いてここに来たんですよね。
That's pretty much the long and short of it. Daitoku senpai and I both nod. As for Furugori,
あんな演説と呼べるもんじゃなくね。
I would definitely say yes.
熱い演説ってのは、例えば。
Don't you dare. Do not you even dare.
諸君、私は戦争が好きだみたいな、そういうのを指すガッツ、ジョーク。
I was expecting something else, but that's even worse. But you know what? I'm feeling in a generous mood. Let's indulge. Frau Kajiro's little reference there. And 3, 2, 1, go.
My friends, it has often been said that I like war. My friends, I like war. No? Friends, I love war. I love holocausts. I love blitzkriegs. I love defensive lines. I love sieges, charges. I love mop-up operations and retreats. Wars across prairies, in streets, in trenches, in grasslands, in frozen tundras, through deserts, on the sea, in the air. I love every act of war that can occur upon this earth. I love blasting the enemy to smithereens with artillery salvos that thunder across the lines of battle. My heart leaps with joy whenever a soldier is tossed high into the air and cut to pieces by well-placed sniper rounds. And there is nothing like a tank operator using a Tiger Oct to destroy enemy tanks. And the feeling that comes when a soldier runs screaming from his blazing tank, only to be mowed down by heavy machine gun fire, is such an exquisite feeling. Like when ranks of infantry brandish their bayonets, rushing into the enemy line. It moves me deep within my heart to watch a fresh recruit stabbing over and over into the bloated chest of a long-dead enemy. The sight of deserters being strung up from a street lamp is an irresistible pleasure. And there is nothing more arousing than the sounds made by prisoners of war dropping like flies, screaming in agony as they're mowed down by ear-piercing schmeissers. When a band of pitiful resistance fighters makes their final stand with nothing but small arms, only to have their city smashed to atoms block by 4.8-ton bombshells, I am in ecstasy. I love it when my forces are ravaged by a Russian armored division. It's so sad to see towns and villages that were supposed to be defended at all costs being laid to waste, their women and children being raped and killed. I love to be squashed under the heel of the British and American war machines. The humiliation as my men crawl around like vermin, ducking the Yarg bombers flying overhead. Gentlemen, all I ask for is war. War so grand as to make hell itself tremble. Gentlemen, I ask you as fellow brothers in arms, what is it that you really want? Do you wish for further war as I do? Do you wish for a merciless, bloody war? A war whose fury is built with iron and lightning and fire? Do you ask for war to sweep in like a tempest, leaving not even ravens to scavenge from this earth? Very well. Then Krieg is what you shall have. We are a clenched fist, ready to strike down all who oppose us with our might. But after enduring over half a century wallowing in the darkness, for us, a simple, ordinary war will no longer be sufficient. We need a massive war! A war beyond any other that man's history has ever known! We are but a single battalion, the remnants of a defeated army numbering less than 1,000 strong. However, I believe that each of you old warriors is equal to 1,000 of their sickly soft children. We represent a force that could easily defeat an army of 1,000,001 men. It is time for them to awake, the ones who sent us screaming into oblivion and who now lie sleeping. Let's drag them out of bed by the hair and remind them of what we are. We will remind them of what it feels like to live in fear. We will remind them of the sound our jackboots make against their throats. that there are more things between heaven and hell than are dreamt of in their philosophy. Our Kampfgruppe of 1,000 vampires is going to burn this world down to ash. Yes, my friends. Soon, Europe's charred remains will illuminate the night sky. I have brought you all back just as I promised I would. Back to our favorite battlefield. Back to our beloved war! At last, the sea lion has crossed the ocean and is heading up the hill. Attention all soldiers of the Millennium Battalion. This is a message from your commander. Friends, let's bring them hell.
Well, don't say I don't do nice things for you, Kona Furugori. And that's the last time I will be doing that. I think. I hope. Now you compliment the speech. She's muttering to herself.
だったら皆さんやることは一つのはず。
But of course. A familiar truck with a crane comes driving up to the hangar with perfect timing. And out from the driver's seat comes... none other than Doc Fujita himself. It's Doc. He acts like he expected us to be together.
始めるぜ。これから24時間が勝負だ。一睡もしてる余裕はねえからな。気合い入れてけ。
We have to refurnish and rebuild gun barrel, build Model 1 in 24 hours, huh? That is a tall order. Without explaining a single thing, he dives right into barking orders.
藤田さんロックですね。
And he does, Nai. And he does.
いや。ロックなのは秋穂さ。
Even Fujita was taken back by Akiho's speech.
ありゃ大した玉だよ。
Good thing she's not here to hear you say that. Or Kaito, for that matter. Actually, having said that, we don't require further instructions. There are only 5 of us here. But we're all thinking the same thing. We glance at prototype Model 1 lying quietly in the darkness. Prez, Yashio-senpai. We'll do everything in our power to get him up and running. We'll be waiting for the both of you to come back. About that, we still have a slight minor snag. That is definitely not quite so minor. The clear sound of applause echoes through across the dark runway. Problem. Kou Kimijima is still holding Airi Yukifune at gunpoint. Yeah. Still have to deal with this before we can actually get back to Tanegashima. So when we return, adventurers, we're still stuck trying to solve the problem that we had at the beginning of this episode, saving Airi Yukifune from Kou Kimijima's clutches. As always, until next we meet.